As an introduction to this video, I want to remind you, always follow sanitary guidelines while preparing food. Washing hands, avoiding cross-contamination from raw meats and fresh foods by using separate cutting boards, and always keep a clean and sanitized work area. Some of these recipes include cooking meat. It is best to use a food thermometer to check the internal temperature of meat for doneness. Remember to watch your food portions, and while shopping for food and ingredients, remember to read the food labels. That is especially helpful for diabetics watching their carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and sodium. All of the food I am preparing in this video is available in the Dining with Diabetes curriculum, and the recipe is included on the video. And finally, always remember to follow your healthcare provider's instructions concerning your specific dietary diabetic needs.
Welcome to Dining with Diabetes. My name's Don Zimmer with the MSU Extension Office from Michigan State University. Today we're going to be making mini meatloafs, potato salad served with a seasoned green bean and red pepper. And the reason we make a mini meatloaf is for portion control. We're just going to mix everything together in one pan. It's going to be very easy. Start with our meat. We have some quick oats. We need a little bit of onion with this. Quick cut to peel those off. And of course in our book it calls for a minced onion. And of course, as we know, minced is as small as we can make it. I like to tell people, cut until you get tired and then you'll have your mince. We're looking for about a 1/3 cup. And I have that here. We're going to measure it when we're done. So we're pretty close there to a 1/3 cup. And that's going to go right in. We need a little more binder with that. We're going to use a little breadcrumb. Try to look at your breadcrumbs again. Try to find one with no sodium if you can. 3/4 cups of evaporated skim milk. And so the beauty of this is, so this has 0 fat, 0 cholesterol. Once again, we're watching our nutrition in this. And 3/4 cups. What do we have next? So just an egg. I always like to crack it in the bowl first. Sometimes you get some shells. Tablespoon chili powder. And it may look like a lot, right, this large tablespoon, but we need a little flavor in there if we're going to cut out our salt. 1/4 teaspoon garlic. 1/8 teaspoon salt. And you can measure that. That's more of a big pinch, 1/8 teaspoon. 1/8 teaspoon black pepper. And so the best way to mix this, of course, is with your hands. If you have some handy-dandy kitchen gloves. Get right into that bowl. And then we're going to bake that in our mini muffin tin. Once again, the reason for that is so if we can watch our portion control, we're going to know exactly what we're eating and our size. A lot of the home meatloafs, you make it in a big loaf. Sometimes you cut a thick piece or a skinny piece. This way, you're going to know exactly how big your portion is going to be. And today, our number of servings is going to be 6. And so, of course, the typical muffin pan comes in 12. And we're just going to portion out 6 and try to space them out so they're going to cook more evenly in the oven. And as I didn't mention yet, so our oven's going to be set at 375, and they're going to bake 25 minutes. Since you have your hand dirty already, you can go ahead and start just portioning them up. Sometimes I'll split the bowl in half, try to get 3 and 3 from each one. It's a good way to start. Keeps you from having to go back the second time and adding more. And a lot of times, the old recipes with meatloaf had the ketchup drizzled on the top for a little flavoring and coloring. Today we're going to use a little barbecue sauce on each one. We're just going to give it a little color on top. So it's about a 1/2 tablespoon per. All right, and we'll see how those come out. So today, with our carbohydrate choice, we're going to try to do a more nutritious carbohydrate by adding the sweet potato. So we're going to start with about 1 cup of each of these. And they're going to need a quick peel. And you'll notice in the recipe it calls for a chop. And so chop typically just means random sizes. I'm going to try to make them more of a dice, a little bit larger. I like to think of it about the size of a finger when you're doing your potato salad. And the one thing between the sweet potatoes and the white potatoes, once again, of course the sweet potato has more nutrients. They also cook slower. So when we cook our potatoes today, we're going to start with our white potatoes first and give them a little head start. And as our recipe suggests, it says put the white potatoes in a saucepan, give them about 5-minute head start on the red potato, on the sweet potato. If you do use sweet potatoes or white potatoes for some other dishes, if you can leave the skins on, that's going to increase your fiber, which is always beneficial as a nutrient. But with our potato salad, we don't want that tough skin in with our dressing. It'll make it a little tougher to enjoy in the mouth. So we can wait on that a little bit until our white potatoes start to boil. And let's see what else we have in our ingredients. Some garlic. And a nice trick for mincing that garlic, if you just lay it flat, sort of mash it gently with your knife, it ought to squeeze out of that skin pretty easy. Because you'll find that garlic happens to be a bit sticky. You'll like to hold on to that skin. And don't be afraid, if you like garlic, it calls for half of a clove, but this is a pretty small one. Let's just put the whole thing in. And once again, this is going to be minced, so we're going to chop, as I said, until you get tired. Some celery. And the beauty of the celery is there's nearly no calories in it. It's very healthy for you, high in fiber. We need a 1/4 cup onion diced again, and we can use up the rest of this onion that we started from our meatloaf. And then we're pretty good. Next we have to make our dressing. For our dressing today, we're going to, of course, try to be healthier. So we're going to use a non-fat yogurt. The Greek thickens it a bit, gives you a little more texture. We're going to use a little bit of mayonnaise with it also. Some mustard. 2 tablespoons light mayonnaise. And sometimes it helps when you're measuring a thick food to have a little pusher to get it out of there. 2 tablespoons plain fat-free yogurt again. 1.5 teaspoons mustard. So then again, we can kind of eyeball it on our measure. If we use our spoon to scoop that out of there. Now we're going to look for a little bit of lemon juice. And so, of course, it's easy with a nice juicer like this. It'll catch all our seeds and our pulp. I see our potatoes are starting to boil here. After I get this lemon juice measured in, we'll put our sweet potato in. And once again, 1.5 teaspoons lemon juice. And so like I said, now that our white potatoes have started to boil, we'll put the sweet potatoes in. We'll give them another 5 minutes to finish. You can always check them with a fork for tenderness. And then in the meantime, we're going to stir our dressing. And then when our potatoes are tender, we're going to give them a quick rinse in some cold water to stop those from cooking. Mix them with our onion and celery and garlic and dress it. The cooling of the potatoes actually stops the cooking. And so that's our benefit there. And make sure you can drain off as much of that water from those potatoes as you can. We don't want a weepy salad. And so we're going to put our potatoes in. We have our celery, onion, and garlic. And then, of course, our dressing is going to go in there. And a quick mix just to coat. Sometimes I like to add a bit of color. We have some fresh parsley here. A quick chop. And our book suggests, for a little bit of texture and crunch, we have some chopped peanuts. And so those can get sprinkled right on. And we're just about to our 25 minutes on our meatloaves. In the meantime, we have a plate ready. As I said, we wanted to complement our protein with our salad. And so we made some green beans on the side with a little sweet pepper. What's our portion size here? I think it's about a half cup. We have a bit of starch, we have our vegetables, and our mini meatloaves. So we're going to check it with our Insta-Read thermometer, make sure we get to 160 degrees because of the ground meat. And here we are, 160, coming up now, yep, 160 degrees, 162. So once again, the beauty of the mini meatloaf is we can control our portion. And so instead of trying to decide how big a slice we need, we get one out. And our portion is measured, our nutrition is measured, and we can enjoy it. Thank you for joining us for this Dining with Diabetes session. Hopefully you'll join us again next time. And in the meantime, enjoy cooking and eat nutritiously.